Hello everyone, subscribers, listeners, watchers. Welcome to IGBits. We train, you learn. Today we are going to look at a concept of partial fractions. This topic is simple one. We have a few methods to describe, but helpful for you when you are doing integration, differentiation, sort of mathematical problem solution. All right, you might gone through some of the concepts in lower grades. However, we were keep recapping them by means of polynomial equations in 10 plus 1 and 10 plus 2 curriculum. Let's get started. I wish I would like to let you know that we have a YouTube channel, the channel name IGBits. Feel free to log into YouTube and then subscribe the channel. Your support is very important and essential for us to sustain the channel information, keep updated, and then your helping hand will support us to build the more knowledge and then sharing across, right, all the people who are like us to actually get the access and then learn the unseen topics. Okay, and feel free to share the channel to the your circle so that we can extend our helping hand to the rest of the world. Thank you all for keep staying with us and then keep help expanding our channel data to rest of the world. What is mean by fraction? Okay, the so we know fraction is a some part of whole number, right? A numerical quantity. Fraction is a numerical quantity that is not a whole number. I am reiterating, a small, a tiny part, right, from whole number is also known as fraction. A fraction represents a part of whole number, right? So let's say I have the whole, the portion. If I can divide it equally, then I would say this small portion would be my fraction, right? How many, this total quantity I divided into 4 parts. How many parts you are actually trying to represent? If at all I am going to represent this area, then I say 1 in 4, isn't? This is a fraction. If I am going to use this total representation, then how do we say I am using 2 parts of 1 by 4. 2 parts of 1 by 4. This is your fraction, isn't it? That's why we were saying a part of whole number, right? It is not whole, but it's a part of whole. A tiny, a small portion of the whole is called fraction. Similarly, you can see this one also, right? I have a triangle of divided into 4 subtriangles, and then now I'm representing what is a fraction of from whole. So if I have a whole as a 1, I'm dividing into 4 parts, and so each part is equally divided, right? So 1 by 4. That's one thing that you have to understand, equally divided. So fraction form, normally we will have a numerator term and then denominator term. Keep remember, that's correct, no? In 1 by 4, what is about the top one is a numerator, right? Numerator, this is a denominator. Oh, you got it? Good. I'm sure we are aware of and then well known is types of fractions. We spoke about the proper fraction, improper, mixed fraction, like fraction, unlike fraction, unit fractions. Let me change my pen color. Okay, what is meant by proper fraction? So we are talking about a numerator and then we talk about denominator, isn't it? The condition is if the numerator is less than the denominator. Example for this one, 1 by 4, 3 by 4, right? 2 by 5. You observe them clearly. Numerator is a lesser number than the denominator. In this case, that is what you can call it as a proper fraction, right? Improper fraction is like another way. Improper means like numerator should be higher than the denominator. Let's say 5 by 4. This is not a fraction, right? There is a whole number inside. Because denominator is a lesser value, numerator is a larger than the denominator. Those kind of things is the best example for improper fraction. Whereas a fixed fraction, what is meant by fixed fraction here? You should have a whole number and also a proper fraction. Let's say 4 1 by 2. When you see something like this is called a mixed fraction, whole number and then proper fraction. Proper means numerator should be a lesser than the denominator, right? That's what it is. Like fractions. So there are instances where fractions seems to be equal when you simplify them. Let's say 1 by 2, right? 2 by 4. Do you see this one? Both are equal. Is it? Because if you can simplify this one, 2 1s are 2 2s are. It's also nothing but 1 by 2. Right? These sort of things we can call it as a same like fractions or the same fractions. Unlike means other way around. I should put 1 by 3 and then 2 by 3. Right? These are like not same. Right? But they're still the fractions. And then if you look at these two are proper fractions because numerator is less than denominator. So one more thing is like a unit fraction. What is meant by unit fraction? If the numerator is 1, means like 1 by 4, right? 1 by 100. These things are called as a unit fractions. Okay, I'm reiterating. Types of fractions, we have a proper fraction, improper fraction, mixed fraction, like fraction, unlike fraction, and unit fraction. Okay, numerator and denominator, if you know, then you can start thinking of how to define each one. Proper fraction means like a numerator is less than the denominator. Improper means numerator should be greater than denominator. Mixed fraction means like we have a whole number and proper fraction. Same fraction means if you have two fractions, if you simplify one, then obviously like reducing to the second one. So both should be a same fractions. Okay, unlike means like if you given two fractions, even after simplified, there exists like a different number altogether, right? That's what you are saying. 1 by 3, 2 by 3. Unit fractions where numerator is always 1. Whenever you see a fraction with a numerator is 1, then we could say that as a unit fraction, right? This we are giving a simple example as a numbers. But what if there is a polynomial equation? Then how do you identify whether it is a proper fraction, whether it is an improper fraction? That we can describe in next slide. Let's say we have two polynomials. Okay, so f of x is one polynomial, g of x is another polynomial. Okay, then the coefficient of two polynomials is called as a rational fraction, meaning when you divide f of x by g of x, let's say, then you should get coefficient, agree? Assuming that g of x is not equal to 0. Okay, this sort of fraction is called as a rational fraction. Rational fraction. Okay. And one more thing we have to understand. Degree of f of x. Degree of f of x, if less than the degree of g of x, then what we can call it as, this rational fraction is called as a proper fraction. Are you following up me? Sure. If at all other way around, degree of f of x is greater than degree of g of x, in this case the condition would be improper fraction. Clear? Say for example, 2x plus 1 divided by x square plus 1. So look at the degree. If this is f of x, this is g of x, then the degree of f of x is lesser than degree of g of x. In this case, this fraction is called as a proper fraction. The other way around, x square plus 4 by x minus 1. You look at now, degree of f of x is greater than degree of g of x. Numerator and denominator, right? This is basically improper fraction, right? This portion is improper, this is a proper fraction. Okay, so whenever you are dealing with like a polynomial equation, you have to look at a degree of the polynomial and see whether fraction given is, the rational fraction given is a proper fraction or improper fraction. Based out of that, you will be able to understand what is mean by partial fraction, how you are going to divide a given fraction into, given proper fraction into two smaller fractions, isn't it? You're clear? So this is how you can identify a polynomial form of fractions. So let's talk about a partial fraction. Okay, so let's say if we have a proper fraction, okay, so proper fraction means what we discussed. Let's say we have f of x and g of x. If you are divided by both of f of x over g of x, let's say we got some kind of quotient, okay, then this is called as a rational fraction. Because we are talking about a polynomial, degree of f of x, if it is less than degree of g of x, right, this is called as a proper fraction. Now let's take a proper fraction, something like this. Then what we can say, if you are able to divide into a linear factors, a denominator g of x, if you are able to divide into linear fractions, then the whole proper fraction can be represented into two a simpler fractions. So the method of decomposing into a simpler fractions is known as a partial fraction. Let's say for instance, you have an example 2x plus 3 over x plus 1 into x minus 3. The given fraction is polynomial fraction is like this. The numerator is like f of x, denominator is g of x. So x power 1, x into x, right? X square. So denominator degree is higher than the numerator. This is a proper fraction. So now we are trying to represent this proper fraction into two simpler fractions. So decomposition of fractions, right? How do you represent? Let's say a by x plus 1 plus b by x minus 3. If you are able to write this and then try to solve them to find out a and b, then this is nothing but your representation of partial fractions. There are the methods, case by case we will look at, and how you are going to decompose the given fraction into a simpler fractions or the partial fractions. Okay, but otherwise definition of partial fraction is basically a process of taking a polynomial fraction and decompose that fraction into simpler fractions is known as a partial fraction. I hope you are clear. Good, thanks. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, click on bell icon and leave the comments. Thank you all. We shall continue remaining topics in the upcoming sessions. Talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye bye.